Mrs. Kane was sitting on her worn-out sofa by her small window, watching the gray sky without any real interest in what was going on around her. For months, she had been living in a state of constant lethargy and fatigue, as she began to feel that everything in her life had become monotonous. The doctors advised her to try and participate in social activities to overcome her psychological condition that threatened to worsen her health. But Mrs. Kane was not convinced. She felt that life was gradually getting away from her. "Mom, how about participating in the upcoming charity market?" said her daughter Emma, holding a small, brightly decorated booklet. Mrs. Kane looked up tiredly at her daughter. "The charity market? I don't think I can do anything there, Emma. I barely have the energy to make a cup of tea." Emma smiled gently and sat down beside her. "I just want you to try, Mom. We could make some homemade jam, or even make some little cakes. You've always been good at that, haven't you?" Mrs. Kane felt a bit hesitant, but she couldn't let her daughter down, who seemed excited. In the days that followed, Emma set up the kitchen, helping her mother prepare some of the old recipes that Mrs. Kane had been famous for in her youth. As time went on, Mrs. Kane began to feel a sense of vitality returning to her, as she smelled the vanilla and touched the cake dough with her hands. On the day of the charity market, Mrs. Kane stood behind her table full of jam jars and decorated butter cakes, feeling a bit anxious. But she quickly blended into the crowd, as people came up to compliment her on the taste of the sweets and chatted with her. There was something warm in the air, something that made her forget the weight of the past days. At the end of the day, Mrs. Kane and Emma had raised a good amount of money, but she felt that she had gained something more than money. She had gained moments of life. In the evening, she sat with Emma in the kitchen, both of them sipping a cup of tea. Mrs. Kane looked at her daughter and said with a smile, "I think life still offers us beautiful things, if we are willing to look for them." Since that day, Mrs. Kane has been part of the team that organizes the charity market every year, living her life with a touch of passion that she had been missing for a long time.